Lollies. Lollies. Lollies! Black Bolt was directed by Masayuki Kojima, the same director behind Gungrave, Gunslinger Girl, Sakura Wars, and Cardcaptor Sakura, which leads me to believe that his next project is probably gonna be called Sakura Gun Guns of Sakura. Our story begins 10 years in the past in Tokyo City. This isn't normal Tokyo, no. This is anime Tokyo, which means that giant kaiju monsters are attacking the city. After 2 massive wars, humanity is finally handed defeat by these creatures called Gastria, and as a side effect, somehow all female babies at the time were born with crimson red eyes and supernatural abilities. How is that possible, you might be asking? Well, the short answer that this anime series seems to give is f*** science, f*** logic, and oh yeah, f*** you. Fast forward 10 years to the present, and the children infected with Gastria have been relegated to living
in the ghetto
outside of Tokyo and have been dubbed the Cursed Children by the government. Which brings us to our main character, Rentaro Satomi, a 16-year-old civil security agent with hair that looks like the BP oil spill. He gets partnered up with Enju, a 10-year-old cursed child, in order to help bring down Gastria. See, the government uses the cursed children to help fight against Gastria, even though they're essentially secluded and treated like crap by the rest of humanity. Jump back to Rentaro and Enju, and we find the two having less of a business relationship, which is kind of predominantly how these things work, and more of a incredibly creepy brother and sister relationship. Yeah, like that. Which goes to inform the viewer that Rentaro doesn't discriminate against cursed children like the rest of the world, and is a pretty good guy. And also that Enju probably needs to see a therapist. Like, quick stats. Throughout the series, we follow the two as they make allies, enemies, help fight off Gastria, and this guy, who is totally an original character and not a ripoff of anyone, ever. 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 The show was made in 2014, which means the animation looks like it was made in 2014. Overall, it's pretty well done with good action flow, what I'm going to call action poses, and good character and world design. My major problems with the animation are more in their choices and less in their quality. Every female character seems to have this weird rouge cheek thing going on that I have to assume was meant to sexualize them or make them look innocent, which in general, I'm not okay with. But that being said, it doesn't even do that. It just kind of makes them look sickly and ill. Which, if that's what they're going for, then well done, I guess. Every character also has these weird kind of dead-eyed looking gradient eyes, which I never really understood the purpose of, but then I saw the cursed children change their eye color in a strange gradient way that kind of overlapped and made it look right. From an animation point, I kind of understand why they did it that way and the effect they were going for, I think, but in the end I still don't like it and it still never really sat right with me. As for the audio, since the show came out this year, we really only have the sub to judge. That being said, the voices are good and the actors did their job well. But all in all, the script really didn't give them much to work with except towards the end with the more emotional scenes. Through the first half of the show, I mean, the actors did good, but it was nothing remarkable. The music, as far as I'm concerned, is okay. Don't get me wrong, I like the opening song, but aside from that, nothing really stood out to me musically throughout the rest of the series. Really, when it comes to audio, it seems like they kind of came in, did their work, didn't go above it, didn't go below it, and then just kind of left so that the visuals could take their place. I think this show's very visual heavy and a little bit less audio heavy, and that's okay. As for characters, we have Rentaro, who is basically the Keanu Reeves of anime, Kisara, his boss, and a metric fuck ton of lolies. Seriously, every single child character that matters in this is a loli, and a cliche one at that. Except for maybe Enju and Tina, but that's a big maybe. Those two do see some character development throughout the series, Enju probably a little bit more than Tina, but neither of them really break out of the stereotype that they were put in the first place. Honestly, outside of Enju and Tina, the rest of the cursed children might as well just not even exist. Except for maybe her. She's crazy. Outside of the 4 characters I already mentioned, Rentaro, Enju, Tina, and Kisara, the rest are pretty much just background fodder as far as I'm concerned. You have Rentaro's elite group of BFFs, this girl who really likes guns, this girl who really needs to eat something, and this box of dicks. And for the most part, none of these characters really get any development and are nothing more than a cliche anime stereotype. You have your psychos, your loudmouth cool guy, your cold stoic cool guy, your emotionless Ray characters, and your box of dicks. Now for the plot. Oh, the plot. Okay, I'm gonna start by saying after the first episode, I was down for this show. It caught my interest right off the bat, and I could not wait to see what was going to happen next. Then I saw what happened next. The series is only 13 episodes long thus far, with rumors of a second season in the works. But that doesn't excuse the fact that over half of the series, thus far in my opinion, is character introduction and filler. Don't get me wrong, the show is interesting, and towards the end it takes a serious jump towards awesome. But there's about 7 out of the 13 episodes that just It just felt like a chore to get through. It wasn't that they weren't entertaining, it just kind of felt like they offered very little to the overall plot, especially at the beginning where it felt like there were almost no consequences towards anybody's actions. Also in the middle of the show, it just decides to become a harem anime out of nowhere for like no reason. Now I understand the necessity to introduce and add new characters, but more often than not, it seems like new characters get 2 episodes of introduction. And honestly, it felt kind of unnecessary and forced when they could have just introduced them naturally through the storyline like they do with other animes, instead of forcing the main characters to go on these stupid ass side quests to find them. The overall plot though is actually really entertaining. Rentaro actually has a very interesting and mysterious past, as do other characters. And the best part about it for me is that while Rentaro is the main character, it doesn't seem like most of the other characters' motivations revolve around him so much. Some of these characters have their own motivations, their own desires, and more often than not might just surprise you with their actions. Like I said, I really did enjoy the plot, and about half of the series really does a good job of building it, while the other half just kind of feels slow and bogged down and really like filler. I feel like they could have done more. They had 13 episodes, and I feel like they only used 6. So what we end up with is an action mystery harem loli kaiju anime that wastes over half of its runtime. But it genuinely attempts to make up for that by having at least a few interesting and well-developed characters and a really strong ending. Personally, I really did like this show, and if I were just going by the first episode and the last 4, I'd probably give it a really high rating. But sadly, I can't judge it by that, seeing as how in my opinion there's about 7 episodes that are almost entirely wasted. So Black Bullet gets an overall score of 5.5 out of 10. As far as I'm concerned, half of the anime is above average while half of it is below average, and that creates an incredibly average anime that gets an incredibly average score. Now when and if the second season does come out, this could all change. I could be singing this anime's praises, or I could be condemning it to anime hell. But as of right now, that's just where I'm at with it. So if you like this video, hit that like and subscribe button and comment down below telling me what you think I should review next. And if you're hankering for more anime review goodness, check out Anime Fan Talk, link in the description below. But seriously though, fucking hate lolis.